My own mother testified against me in a paternity case for a kid that isn't even mine. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 34, and I'm pretty sure I'm living in some kind of twisted reality TV show. My family, the Millers, look perfect from the outside. Successful, close-knit, the whole 9 yards, but underneath it's all kinds of messed up. My mom, Patricia, is the queen bee, always worried about appearances. My dad's just there. And my sister Sarah, the golden child, me, I'm the screw-up apparently, always have been, never good enough. 2 months after my divorce from my cheating ex-wife, Jessica, I get hit with paternity papers. A kid she claims is mine, conceived when we briefly tried to work things out. Except we weren't even sleeping together then. I told my mom, thinking she'd back me up. Nope. She basically called me a liar and said family sticks together. Then it got worse. Way worse. She actually testified against me in court, said I admitted to being the father and was trying to avoid responsibility. A lie. I'm seriously starting to question everything. How could my own mother do this to me? What the hell is going on? I was at work trying to focus, which was impossible after the whole paternity lawsuit bomb Jessica dropped on me. My phone buzzed a text from my lawyer. Court date set, Jessica's witness list submitted. I clicked the attached PDF, my stomach already churning, and then I saw it, Patricia Miller, my own mother, listed as a witness for the plaintiff. For Jessica, my hands started shaking. I literally felt the blood drain from my face. I had to grip the edge of my desk to keep from falling out of my chair. Nausea rolled over me in waves. This couldn't be real. It felt like a bad dream. I called my lawyer immediately. There's been some kind of mistake, right? That has to be a mistake. He confirmed it. No mistake. My mother was testifying against me. I called her, trembling with rage and disbelief. Mom, what the hell is this? You're testifying against me for JSSICA. Her voice was cold, clipped. Ethan, you need to take responsibility. Family sticks together. This child deserves a father. Are you kidding me? I'm not the father, you know that. How can you do this to me? I was yelling, tears welling up in my eyes. Don't raise your voice to me, Ethan. I'm doing what's right. You're being selfish. Think about the baby. Click, she hung up. I just sat there, phone clutched in my hand, completely numb. My own mother, the one person who was supposed to be on my side. She was actively working against me, lying to the court, siding with the woman who cheated on me and destroyed our marriage. The world tilted on its axis. Nothing made sense anymore. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a full-on character assassination, orchestrated by the person who was supposed to love me unconditionally. I felt like I was suffocating, drowning in a sea of confusion and hurt. How could she? Why? I went to my parents' house that night, still reeling. I had to confront her face to face. I needed answers, needed her to see the pain she was causing. I walked in and there they were, sitting in the living room like nothing was wrong. My dad was reading the paper, my mom sipping tea, like a goddamn Norman Rockwell painting. The image made my stomach churn even more. Mom, we need to talk, I said, my voice shaking. Ethan, she sighed, setting down her teacup. I wish you'd just accept this. It's not so bad. You'll be a father. It's a blessing. A blessing. You think this is a blessing? You're lying in court, Mom. You're lying about me to help JSSICA. I couldn't keep my voice level. Don't be dramatic, Ethan, she said dismissively, waving her hand. I'm simply encouraging you to do the right thing. The right thing is to lie, to perjure yourself, to destroy your own son's life. I was pacing now, my heart pounding in my chest. My dad finally looked up from his paper. Ethan, calm down. Your mother's just trying to help. Help, I wanted to scream. Help by falsely testifying against me, by siding with the woman who tore our family apart. Ethan, you need to stop this, my mom said, her voice rising. You're making a scene. This is embarrassing. Embarrassing? She was embarrassing. This whole situation was a goddamn circus, and she was the ringmaster. Embarrassing. You're worried about embarrassing? You're lying under oath. How can you even say that? I felt like I was losing my mind. Ethan, families have their disagreements, my dad said calmly, like this was just a normal squabble. We'll get through this. That's when it hit me. They didn't get it. They couldn't get it. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just a family disagreement. This was toxic. This was insane. My mom just kept shaking her head, muttering about how ungrateful I was. How I was always causing problems. How I was never good enough. I turned and walked out. I couldn't breathe in that house. In that twisted, suffocating reality they called family, I needed to get out. I needed air. I'm sitting in my car now, shaking, trying to process what just happened. My own parents, against me, for her. It's like they're living in some alternate universe, and I'm trapped in it with them. What the hell do I do now? A few days later, things went from bad to nuclear. I'm still reeling from my parents' betrayal, especially my mom's Oscar-worthy performance in court. Seriously, Meryl Streep would be proud when I get a call. It's my Aunt Susan, my mom's sister. I haven't spoken to her in ages. Ethan, honey, she says, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. I'm so worried about you. Your mother tells me that you're being difficult about this whole baby situation. My jaw clenched. Difficult? I'm difficult because I don't want to pay child support for a kid that isn't mine. Now, Ethan, she continues, like she's talking to a toddler. Family is everything. You need to think about what's best for the baby. Jessica's such a sweet girl, she wouldn't lie. Sweet girl, Jessica, the Jessica who cheated on me multiple times. I almost choked. Aunt Susan, you have no idea what you're talking about. Jessica is a Ethan, she interrupted, her voice sharpening. Don't you dare speak ill of her. She's carrying your child. You should be ashamed of yourself. It's not my child, and even if it was, my mother lying in court is not okay. Oh, Ethan, she sighed dramatically. Your mother is just worried about you. We all are. You've been through so much with the divorce. We just want what's best for you. This was insane. They were all gaslighting me, making me feel like I was the crazy one. What's best for me is for my family to stop lying and trying to manipulate me, I yelled into the phone. Then came the kicker. Ethan, honey, we're having a family intervention. A what? An intervention? For not wanting to pay for someone else's kid? I couldn't even process it. An intervention? Are you serious? Yes, dear, we're all worried. We just want to help you see reason. I hung up. I couldn't even. An intervention. This was beyond ridiculous. It was officially a full-blown psycho family drama. The intervention was even more surreal than I imagined. Aunts, uncles, cousins I hadn't seen in years, all gathered in my parents' living room, staring at me like I was some kind of addict. My mom sat front and center, clutching a tissue, looking like a martyr. They all took turns telling me how disappointed they were in me, how selfish I was being, how I needed to step up and be a man. My uncle George, who I'm pretty sure hasn't held a steady job in his life, lectured me about responsibility. My cousin Tiffany, who's been engaged 4 times, gave me relationship advice. It was a nightmare. I tried to explain. I tried to tell them the truth about Jessica, about the timeline, about the paternity test I was demanding. But they didn't want to hear it. They'd already made up their minds. I was the bad guy, the deadbeat dad, the family disgrace. I left that intervention feeling more alone than ever. My family, the people who were supposed to love and support me, had turned against me. They'd chosen to believe a lie to protect the family image, rather than believe me, their own son, brother, nephew. This isn't just about the paternity suit anymore. This is about something much deeper. Something broken in my family that I don't know if I can fix. But one thing's for damn sure, I'm not giving up. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to prove the truth. And then I'm going to get as far away from this toxic mess as I possibly can. I'm starting to realize I need to for my own sanity. So after that intervention, I still can't believe that actually happened. I was a wreck. Seriously, I felt like I was losing my mind. I needed someone, anyone, to just listen, to understand. I ended up calling my Aunt Carol. She's my dad's sister, and she's always been different. She's the kind of person who calls it like she sees it, no sugarcoating. She's never been a fan of my mom, always thought she was too obsessed with appearances. I was hesitant to even call her because honestly I was embarrassed, ashamed. My own family, staging an intervention because I wouldn't just roll over and accept this BS paternity claim. Hey Aunt Carol, I said, my voice cracking. It's Ethan. Ethan, how are you, honey? She sounded genuinely happy to hear from me, which was already a relief. Not great, I admitted. Things are really messed up right now. I heard about the paternity suit, she said gently. That sounds rough. And then I just spilled. I told her everything. About Jessica's infidelity, about the timeline, about my mom's lies, about the intervention, the whole 9 yards. I even told her about how my mom always favored Sarah, how I'd always felt like the family screw up. I held nothing back. There was silence on the other end for a moment. Then, Ethan, are you serious? Dead serious, I said, feeling the tears welling up again. I'm starting to think I'm the crazy one. Honey, you're not crazy, she said firmly. This is insane. Patricia has always been obsessed with appearances, with keeping up this facade of the perfect family. But this is a whole new level of crazy. And then she said something that just clicked, something that made me see everything in a new light. Ethan, this isn't about you. This is about her. This is about Patricia's need to control everything, to maintain this image she's built up in her head. She's terrified of anything that might tarnish that image, even if it means destroying her own son's life in the process. It was like a light bulb went off in my head. It wasn't about me being a screw-up. It wasn't about me not being good enough. It was about her. Her insecurities. Her need for control. Her fear of what people would think. "Oh my God," I whispered, "you're right." "Of course I'm right," she said, her voice softening. "I've known Patricia my whole life. She's always been this way. It's just never been this bad before." "What do I do?" I asked, feeling lost and overwhelmed. "First, you breathe," she said calmly. "Then you fight. You get that paternity test. You prove you're not the father. And then you decide what kind of relationship, if any, you want to have with your mother. This isn't your fault, Ethan. Don't let her make you believe it is." Talking to Aunt Carol was like coming up for air after being underwater for too long. For the first time, I felt like someone understood, like someone saw the truth, and it changed everything. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't the problem, and I wasn't alone. I finally had someone on my side, and that, more than anything, gave me the strength to keep fighting. I was at my wits' end. After the intervention, the constant gaslighting, the sheer audacity of my family siding with Jessica, I felt like I was drowning. Then Aunt Carol's words kept echoing in my head. "This isn't about you. This is about her." I knew I needed proof, something concrete to shut everyone up and expose the truth. I started digging. I went through old emails, bank statements, anything I could get my hands on. Then I remembered Jessica mentioning something about my mom helping her with the legal paperwork. "She's been such a support," she'd simpered, the venomous little. I logged into my old joint email account, the one Jessica and I shared before the divorce. I hadn't looked at it in months, honestly didn't even want to think about it. But something told me to check. And there they were, the emails, from my mother to Jessica, dating back months even before the divorce was finalized. My blood ran cold. It started with seemingly innocent messages, my mom offering support to Jessica during the difficult time. Then, the tone shifted. They started discussing the divorce settlement, with my mom advising Jessica on how to get the most money. How to portray me as the bad guy, how to play the victim. Then the paternity suit. My mom was coaching Jessica, telling her what to say, how to present the case, even suggesting specific details to include in her testimony. Details that were complete lies. I scrolled through the emails, each one a punch to the gut. My mom, my own flesh and blood, conspiring with my cheating ex-wife to screw me over, to ruin me. One email in particular stood out. It was from my mom to Jessica, sent just a few weeks before the paternity suit was filed. "Make sure you emphasize the reconciliation attempt," she wrote. "That will make your story more believable. And don't worry about Ethan. He's always been a softie. He'll cave under pressure." Cave under pressure. That's what she thought of me. That I was so weak, so spineless, that I would just roll over and let them walk all over me. Something snapped inside me. It was like a switch flipped. The confusion, the self-doubt, the guilt, it all vanished, replaced by white-hot rage. I was done being the victim, done being the family scapegoat, done letting them control my life. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the mouse. But I printed every single email, every single one. This was my ammunition. This was my proof. This was my freedom. Right then and there, I knew what I had to do. I had to confront her. I had to expose her lies. I had to make her understand the damage she had caused, not just to me but to our entire family. I felt a surge of adrenaline, a strange sense of calm amidst the storm. This wasn't just about the paternity suit anymore. This was about taking back my life. This was about reclaiming my dignity. This was about finally standing up for myself. And I knew with absolute certainty that I wasn't going to back down. Not this time. No more. Okay, Reddit, buckle up. After finding those emails, holy crap, still can't believe it, I knew I couldn't just let this go. I had to confront my mother. I needed answers. More importantly, I needed her to see the damage she'd caused. First, I printed every single email. Multiple copies. One set for me, one for my lawyer. Yes, I lawyered up. This was war, and one, well, you'll see. I also made digital backups, all the backups. Paranoia level, expert. Next, I called my dad. He's been mostly absent through this whole thing, but I knew he needed to be there. This wasn't just about me and my mom anymore. This was about our entire family. I told him I had something important to discuss, and I needed him and my mom at my apartment the next evening. I didn't give him any details. I wanted the element of surprise. Then I reached out to Aunt Carol. She was my rock through this whole mess. I told her about the emails, about my plan to confront my mom. She offered to be there for support, to be a witness. Having a witness is key, people. Especially when dealing with someone as manipulative as my mother. I spent the rest of the day preparing myself mentally and emotionally. I knew this wasn't going to be easy. My mom wasn't going to just admit she was wrong and apologize. I knew she'd deny, deflect, gaslight, the whole 9 yards. I prepped myself for every possible scenario. I practiced what I was going to say, over and over, until the words felt etched in my bones. I arranged my apartment, making sure it was clean and organized. I wanted a neutral space, free of distractions. This was going to be a difficult conversation, and I needed to be focused. I even put out a pitcher of water and glasses, anticipating the inevitable dry mouths and shaky hands. Overprepared, maybe, but I wasn't leaving anything to chance. The night of the confrontation, I was a nervous wreck. My hands were shaking, my heart was pounding, but I was also strangely calm. I knew I was doing the right thing, I had the truth on my side. And for the first time I felt a sense of power, of control. I was ready. Bring it on, Patricia. My apartment was eerily quiet. Just me, my dad, who looked like he'd aged 10 years in the past few weeks, Aunt Carol, bless her soul, a true warrior, and my mother. Patricia Miller, queen of denial, empress of gaslighting, reigning champion of I'm always right. She sat on my couch, ramrod straight, sipping the water I offered with an air of disdain, like she was doing me a favor by even being here. My dad sat beside her, fiddling with his watch, avoiding eye contact. Aunt Carol sat in a chair across from them, a silent, supportive presence. I took a deep breath. Mom, Dad, Aunt Carol's here as a witness. I have something important to show you. I held up the stack of printed emails. These are emails between you and Jessica. My mom's eyes narrowed. What about them? She said, her voice tight. They detail your involvement in the paternity suit, your coaching of Jessica, shall we say. I placed the emails on the coffee table between us. I'd suggest you read them. She didn't move. Just stared at the papers, her face hardening. This is ridiculous, Ethan. I don't know what you're trying to pull, but read them. My voice was calm but firm. I could feel the power shifting. She finally picked up the stack, her hands trembling slightly. As she read, her face went through a series of transformations: disbelief, confusion, then panic. Pure, unadulterated panic. My dad, bless his heart, was completely oblivious. See, Patricia, he said, picking up a page. It's just like you said, you were just trying to help Jessica. He trailed off, his eyes widening as he actually read the words. Patricia, he whispered, his voice laced with shock. When she finished, the silence in the room was deafening. My mom's face was pale, her lips pressed into a thin line. Well, I asked, my voice shaking slightly despite my best efforts to remain calm. Anything you want to say? She finally looked up, her eyes blazing. But not at me, at my dad. You, she shrieked, pointing a trembling finger at him. You told him, you betrayed me. The room went silent. My dad recoiled as if she'd slapped him. Aunt Carol's jaw dropped. I was stunned. She was blaming him, after everything. I did, my dad stammered, completely bewildered. Ethan found these himself. I had nothing to do with it. My mom's rage intensified. Liar, she screamed. You've always been against me, you've always sided with him, you're just trying to humiliate me. She stood up abruptly, knocking over her glass of water in the process. The glass shattered on the hardwood floor, the sound echoing in the tense silence. This is your fault, she yelled, her voice cracking. All of it. And then she stormed out, leaving my dad and me sitting there, amidst the shattered glass and the wreckage of our family. The power dynamic had shifted, completely. She wasn't the queen anymore. She was just a scared, angry woman, desperately trying to cling to the last shreds of her carefully constructed facade, and failing miserably. I looked at my dad, who looked utterly shell-shocked. Aunt Carol reached over and squeezed my hand. You did good, Ethan, she said softly. You did good. And you know what, Reddit? For the first time in a long time, I actually believed her. I had finally stood up for myself. I had exposed the truth. And even though it was messy, painful, and chaotic, it was also liberating. I was finally free. It's been 6 months since the confrontation, still feels weird calling it that, at my apartment. The fallout has been messy, to say the least. Exactly like you'd expect, Reddit, like a slow-motion train wreck. Immediately after my mom stormed out, my dad and I just sat there in stunned silence. The shattered glass on the floor felt symbolic, like a physical representation of our broken family. Aunt Carol was amazing. She cleaned up the mess, made us tea, and just listened. We talked for hours that night, processing everything that had happened. It was the first time my dad and I had really talked in years. Like, really talked, it was surreal, and honestly kind of nice. The next few days were a blur. My mom refused to speak to me. She wouldn't answer my calls, wouldn't respond to my texts. She went full ghost mode. My dad, on the other hand, started opening up. He admitted that he'd suspected my mom's manipulative tendencies for years, but he'd always been too afraid to confront her. Too afraid of rocking the boat. He finally saw her for who she really was, and he filed for divorce. I know, right? Divorce, after 40 years of marriage. It was a huge shock, even bigger than the paternity suit drama. My sister, Sarah, was devastated. She'd always idolized my mom. This whole thing completely shattered her world. We've actually gotten closer because of it. We're both dealing with the fallout of my mom's lies and manipulations, and it's comforting, I guess, to have someone who understands. The paternity test, by the way, came back negative. Shocker, I know. Jessica tried to fight it, but the emails were pretty damning evidence. The case was dismissed. I haven't heard from her since, and honestly, I'm perfectly fine with that. Good riddance. So where do things stand now? My dad and I are closer than ever. We talk regularly, go out for dinner, even watch sports together. It's weird but good, like we're finally getting to know each other as adults. He's moved into a smaller apartment and he seems lighter, happier, free. Sarah is still struggling. She's in therapy, working through her complicated feelings about my mom. She's gone low contact, which I think is healthy. We're supporting each other, trying to rebuild our relationship. It's slow going, but we're getting there. As for my mom, well, that's the complicated part. She's still in denial, still blaming everyone but herself. She's cut off contact with most of the family, including me. I've tried reaching out a few times, but she's not receptive. It hurts, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm also starting to accept it. I'm not responsible for her happiness or her denial. That's a huge realization for me. I'm in therapy too, working on setting healthy boundaries and dealing with the trauma of the past year. It's hard, but it's also empowering. I'm finally taking control of my life. I'm no longer the family scapegoat. I'm ETHAN, just Ethan, and that's enough. I've even started dating again. Cautiously, of course, with clear boundaries. This whole experience has taught me a lot about what I want and don't want in a partner, and in a family, so yeah, it's been a wild ride, a roller coaster of emotions. But I'm surviving. More than surviving, actually, I'm thriving. I'm curious, Reddit, has anyone else gone through something similar? How did you deal with the fallout? Any advice for navigating a fractured family dynamic? Let me know. I could use the support.